Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to another FIFA 22 video where today we are going to be sharing with you what I think is the #1 formation right now in FIFA. Now, obviously, Team of the Season has begun and hopefully you guys are all having great luck packing a lot of blues and hopefully your weekend leagues went very, very well. Mine went surprisingly quite well considering I've not played for quite a long time in terms of FUT Champs, and a lot of people think that Champs was really sweaty. For me, I didn't find it that. I found it very, very enjoyable, actually. Maybe because I haven't played FUT Champions for a long time, but I found it very, very enjoyable. And it will probably get more and more sweaty, obviously, as the better team of the season has come. Obviously, it's Premier League next week, so it's going to be interesting to see how people play during the Premier League. I'm also enjoying the really extended weekend leagues. You know, the fact that you can play from Friday all the way through till Tuesday or till Wednesday, I think is absolutely brilliant from EA. So I think that definitely take some of the stress out of the game. But today I'm going to be showing you the formation that I played with this weekend league and why maybe it made the weekend league so fun for me, because I just was playing with a formation that I absolutely love. I think it's brilliant, and I definitely, in my opinion, think it is one of the best formations, if not the best formation in the game right now. Now, with that being said, it is the 5-2-1-2. It was, of course, going to be the 5-2-1-2. I love this formation, and I know a lot of you guys have shown a lot of love for this formation, have tried out our tactics with the 5-2-1-2, and you guys have shown it a lot of love, and you guys appreciate how it is. Now, the reason why I like the 5-2-1-2 so much is because I like the play style. Now, the way I like to play is I like to play with my wing backs getting forwards. I like my wing backs getting forwards and getting part of the attack. You know, I like having sort of those fullbacks. You know, I like the idea of Trent and Robertson for Liverpool. Obviously, being a Liverpool fan, I like them getting forwards, being involved in the attack. But I like having the 5 at the back because it gives me that security as well. So in defense, we're a 5 at the back, but when we go forwards, we're a 3 at the back, and we're really aggressive and we've got everybody going forward. So I just like the policy of having wing backs getting forwards, especially in a formation like this. You know, I love playing with 2 strikers as well. I think it's super, super important, and it suits my play style really well to play with 2 strikers. And if you're playing with 2 strikers, you don't have any width. So the width has to come from the wing backs. And I just like that policy of having the wing backs get forwards and be attacking and being part of the game. And sure, from time to time, it does leave me a little bit open, and it can leave you against really top-end super sweat players. Of course, it's not the most effective formation, but my weekend leagues are generally quite casual and in that regard, and not super sort of sweaty. And maybe that's why I have so much success and had a lot of fun this weekend. So with that being said, these are the tactics that I'm playing with right now, and I just tweak them. You know, I think they're so good, and they're just so effective. And what's more important than the tactics is that you play to the strengths of the play style. Obviously, you know the formation inside and out, so you play to the strength. You want the wing backs to get forward, so you need to obviously have a decently high depth, so your players aren't starting and making runs from too deep. Because one of the problems that a lot of people have is when their players make runs in behind, because their depth is so low, the runs are coming from so deep in like your midfield area, and they're very, very easy to track. And that's one of the reasons why you need to play with a slightly higher depth, because then your players' natural positions are a little bit higher up, and then those sort of instant runs are a lot harder to track because your attackers and midfielders are a lot higher up the pitch. And one of the problems is that a lot of people's players are quite deep, so the runs are quite easy to pick up, and that's why maybe you find it tough to get in behind. Now, we've gone for slow build up. This works really well in the 5 back. Obviously, having 5 of our players in defense, and then that 2 midfield, and then the 1 to the cam to link up to the 2 strikers. The slow build up's really, really important because we've got a lot of players in the midfield and sort of the defensive part. We can't afford to really go fast build up. It doesn't work. You know, you haven't got as many players. Your opponent's going to have too many players to be able to mark your sort of 2-3 midfielders in there. So you really have to play quite smart with the slow build up. You've also got to really utilize the switch of play. That's something that's super important in this formation. The switch of play is really important. Pinging it from one fullback to the other. Sometimes the fullback, the right back, let's say, will be in the defensive half, and your left back will be, you know, in the attacking half, and you can play a real good 60-yard raking pass to the far side, and it just really switches the game up. So you've got to also be able to utilize that and the switch of play. And also, don't be afraid to just retain possession with your back 3 and then just drop it into your midfield and flick it around the corner. And that's when you can start to build up attacks and start to increase the pace of your attacks. In terms of the chance creation, we've gone for direct passing. This is super important. You need to have these guys on direct passing. I can't tell you how many times, especially Bellingham in my midfield, gets into so many great attacking positions. And again, this does leave you time to time a little bit exposed, because obviously the direct passing means that when you get into the final third, all of your attacking players, i.e. the two strikers, the cam, the two mids, a lot of them are going to make runs in behind, and especially if you have the fullbacks high up the pitch as well, can leave you a little bit exposed from time to time. But it was never too much of an issue. Again, like I said, only against really top-end super sweaty players who maybe just left their strikers on stay forwards and they had like Team of the Year Mbappe's or whatever. Only against the real top-end sweat lords is it maybe an issue. But against probably 95% of the people I played against, it was never a problem. I never had a problem with having too many players up the pitch. And then, of course, the 100 width. This works so well, and this is a must, especially if you're going to have the fullbacks or the wingbacks going forwards. And it also ties in really, really well with what we said about switching the play. You know, you need to have the width, and it really opens up your opponent's defense, because anyone who is playing defensive, if your left and right wingbacks are on the touchline, players are going to have to get out to them to come and, you know, close them down. Otherwise, you're just going to be able to retain possession and just eventually wait for them to make a mistake. But they're going to have to pull players out. And when they pull players out, that's when you've got to be able to attack a lot faster and utilize the space that's just being created. Otherwise, it's just going to be pointless. But that 100 width is so important, especially if you're going to have the wing backs getting forwards. Players in the box, we've gone for 6. We don't want too many players in the box. You know, we need a couple back, especially the mids. We want them kind of getting into the box, but staying on the edge of the box for sort of shots. And then corners, we're on 3. Mix it up between, obviously, putting it in the box and going short. And then free kicks on 1. Now, when it comes to the instructions, we've got Puskas and Defoe, especially Puskas. He was so good this weekend. Like 3-star, you know, the 3-star weak foot, whatever he's got, it was not a problem. He was so good, and I really enjoyed using him. Now, the stay central, getting behind, of course, for the two strikers is very important. Really ties up well with, obviously, the getting behind tactic, and also it really ties in well with the direct passing tactic, because obviously you want as many players, especially the strikers, they need to be running in behind, but we need them on stay central, because the wing backs, as we've alluded to many times before, the wing backs are going to get forward and provide the width, so we need the strikers to stay in between the sticks in the 18-yard box. We've then got Zizou in the cam spot, obviously on getting behind and free roam. He is so good, and he's just an amazing player to have in this team. He's very lucky to pack him. But obviously your cam is someone that needs to be able to link up the play and play a lot of key through balls. So you want someone with good passing, but you need someone with good shooting, because they get into a lot of shooting positions as well. And especially someone who can maybe hit finesse shots, because they get into really good positions to be able to finesse into top corners. So you need players that can obviously do that as well. In terms of the two midfielders, we've got Bellingham and McKennie. Now, these are kind of the two type of midfielders. You really want box-to-box mids, because they get into positions where they can score goals, especially Bellingham, who scored quite a lot of goals for me from midfield, sort of those late runs, getting into the box. Maybe Darmian goes down the left, looks for a cutback, and it's Bellingham is the one there that's arriving and shooting and scoring. So your strikers have got to have, or your midfielders, sorry, have got to have good finishing. You know, you need to have someone who you can trust to have good shooting. So obviously you want the 4-star weak foot kind of as a minimum as well, but they do need to have some defensive qualities, because they do need to be able to defend, especially when your opponent has the ball and you're in shape. You need some players that you feel confident with that can make interceptions. And then the last thing that they really need is good stamina, because they have to do a lot of running sort of from box to box. You know, they can, you know, run into the box attacking, and then 20-30 seconds later they need to get back in position and be able to defend. So stamina is really important. Or you need to have good subs that can kind of do the same job when you bring them on. Of course, the 3 centre-backs, Chiellini, and then we've got Sangare and Ramos. These guys all on stay back while attacking. Pretty self-explanatory. What you need there is pretty much just pace, power, and defending, and you'll be all right in those positions. And then the fullbacks, we've got Mazraoui and Darmian. Both these guys are going to be playing on balance. I didn't want to go, and I haven't gone with join the attack. This makes it far too attacking. This is definitely something that you don't need, because they just run all the time. And sometimes what's really important is you need to be able to just retain possession, and you need to be able to just pass it out to your wingback and then pass it into your midfield, and then he goes. You don't need him to join the attack, because it means he just constantly runs in behind and kind of runs away from you. And sometimes you just need that pass out, just to kind of, you know, create space, and just, you know, a lot of different things, a lot of sort of small nuanced things that are part of the game and part of just building up your attack. But you don't need him on join the attack as well, because it really goes against the slow build up. You know, we've got the slow build up when we're in our third, and then they start moving forwards when we get there. So join the attack doesn't work. We want them on balance, because it means as well that they'll make the runs forward when they need to. but they'll also be in a good position to get back defensively if you do turn the ball over. And of course, we want them on overlap to make sure they always stay on the touchline. And then Van der Sar in goal, of course, wants to be on comes from crosses and sweeper keepers. So that is it for the 5-2-1-2. And that is what I think is the best formation in the game right now. Maybe a little bit biased because I've played with this formation so much and I know it inside and out and I just love it. But, you know, it got me 17-3 this weekend, which is amazing considering I haven't played Weekend League since like January. That's pretty incredible. So I absolutely love this formation and it just gives you great success. Again, maybe not against the absolute top tier pros. You know, obviously you need something a little bit different. But if you're someone that just wants to play for fun, play a little bit casual and just have a great time playing with the formation, this is something I absolutely recommend for everybody who is a casual player. It is super, super fun. But that is it for today's video, guys. So make sure you drop a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe as well if you are new to the channel. Make sure you join our Discord down below if you want any tips on Team of the Season as well. But that is all for today, guys. Have an awesome day. I'm out.